Have you ever wondered why you always feel tired even though you work non-stop all day? Why do you rush around every morning? Do all sorts of things. But when night falls, you still don't feel like you're really making progress. Maybe the problem isn't that you don't have a dream, nor is it that you lack the ability. Rather, you're being controlled by something invisible, subtle, but extremely dangerous: laziness. Laziness today is no longer someone lying on the sofa all day. It's more subtle, more clever, and more dangerous. It hides behind busyness, behind a series of seemingly reasonable excuses. You're still working, but it's a side hustle. You're still busy, but busy doing things that don't get you closer to your goals. That's modern laziness, and it's costing you opportunities. Every day, I remember there was a time when I was working almost non-stop. My schedule was full all week. I was answering emails, reading documents, having meetings, updating information, but there was a strange thing. Everything was still at a standstill. I couldn't write a chapter of the book I wanted to write. The channel I wanted to build didn't have a single complete video. The dream was still on paper. Then I suddenly realized I wasn't lacking effort. I was just putting effort in the wrong place. I wasn't lazy in the doing nothing way. I was lazy in the avoiding the most important thing way. Laziness is more than just not doing. Sometimes, it's choosing the easier option over the necessary one. It's when you repeatedly put off the most important thing by doing things that feel like busy, but don't get you anywhere. And you're not alone. Many of us are. We live in an age where we're flooded with information, tools, and gadgets, and we get lost in our busyness. The thing is, laziness always knows how to disguise itself. It will tell you that it's not the right time. You can do it later. Doing it like that is not perfect. But behind those words, there is a truth that few people dare to face. You are trading your dreams for a temporary feeling of safety, comfort, and ease. You've probably been there when you plan to write a book, but never write the first line. When you say you want to change jobs, but stay put because you have more preparation to do. When you promise yourself tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes. It's not because you don't know what to do. It's because you're used to doing it. Avoid doing it. But the good news is, you weren't born lazy. Laziness isn't fate. It's the result of small habits you repeat over and over again. And if it's a habit, you can change it. It all starts with one simple thing: recognizing the signs of laziness hiding in your own life. Once you see them, you can overcome them. And that's why I made this video. We'll explore the 12 most common signs of laziness, familiar yet dangerous manifestations that are silently eroding your potential and motivation. Not only will you identify them, but you'll also learn exactly how to overcome each one. No dogma, no theory, just facts, action, and real change. You don't have to change your whole life today. You just have to start looking at the truth courageously and taking small actions. Because if you don't control your laziness, it will control you. And if you're ready to take back control of your time, energy, and goals today, then keep reading. The journey of change is beginning, and it starts right here. There's something many of us unconsciously believe: you need inspiration to do something. We think that when we feel ready, motivated, and full of enthusiasm, then that's the right time to start. But the truth is, if you wait for inspiration to strike, you may never start. Inspiration is a fickle guest. It comes when it pleases, and often, not when you need it. If you let your actions depend on your emotions, your productivity will go up and down like a roller coaster. And chances are, you will miss opportunities simply because you just don't feel like it today. I was stuck in that mindset for years. I wanted to write a book, but every time I turned on my computer, I felt uninspired. I wanted to get fit, but I waited until I felt motivated. And guess what? Most of the time, inspiration never comes, but the pressure kept building. Procrastination made me feel worse than the thing I was avoiding, until I realized a very simple truth. Inspiration isn't the starting point, it's the reward. It comes after you've started, after you've gotten through the first 5 minutes of resistance, after you've given your body and brain a signal that says, "We're going to do this, no matter how it feels." And the simplest way to overcome emotional procrastination? Start small, very small. If it takes less than 2 minutes, do it. No thinking, no analyzing, no bargaining. Just do it. Brush your teeth, fold the blanket, open the document, write the first line. Because that first small action is like a rolling stone. Once it starts rolling, it takes the energy with it. But there's another, equally silent enemy: comfort. You'll find yourself constantly choosing the easy, familiar thing, not because you don't know what's more important, but because the other thing is easier. We are programmed to avoid difficulty, to avoid fatigue, and sometimes that causes us to stay in our comfort zone. We choose to read one more blog post instead of starting a real project. We choose to watch a personal development video instead of facing our own problems. All of these behaviors make you feel doing something, but you're actually just avoiding it. The question is, how do you get out of that comfort trap? The answer isn't to make a complete change in one day. It's to choose to do something every day that makes you uncomfortable, even if just a little bit. Something that forces you to push against your old habits. It could be sending an important email, saying no, waking up 30 minutes earlier. Each action is like exercising a mental muscle, and that's how willpower is built, by persisting with the hard. Finally, we need to talk about another arch enemy: procrastination. It's the sweetest thing. It gives you that "I will do it" feeling, but always tomorrow. It gives you peace of mind, because you keep the plan in your head, but never actually do it. Procrastination is laziness disguised as the belief that it will be better if you wait a little longer. And the more you procrastinate, the more you feel burdened, guilty, and then procrastinate some more to avoid that feeling. A never-ending cycle. I've tried many ways to break that loop, and there are 3 tools that have worked best for me. First, set clear deadlines for each task. Not, make a video this week, but write the script by Tuesday, 9 a.m. Without deadlines, everything is just vague. Monday, Pomodoro technique, 25 minutes of deep work, 5 minutes of rest. This creates clear boundaries for focus, and makes getting started less stressful. And finally, eat that frog. Do your most important work early in the day, when your willpower is high, when you haven't been pulled into a dozen other distractions. Finish the biggest frog first. You'll have an early sense of victory, and that will carry you through the day. You see, laziness is not always obvious. It can come in the form of emotions, of familiarity, of promises of tomorrow. But if you recognize it, you will no longer be its puppet. You will be proactive, and when you take initiative, even in small ways, you are moving toward the life you want to live. Have you ever said to yourself things like, "I don't have enough time to start. I'm too tired. Now is not the time"? If so, you are not alone. And I know that sounds reasonable, because really, you may be tired, you may be busy, you may be facing a lot of responsibilities and worries. But let me ask you something. Do those excuses actually help you move forward? The truth is this: when you constantly blame circumstances, no matter how valid the reason, you are taking away your power. You are gradually giving control of your life to external circumstances. And then you live like a victim, someone who is always waiting for the perfect moment, always waiting for the right time. But the right time never comes. I used to be one of those people. I blamed my busy work schedule for not exercising. I blamed deadlines for not having time to learn new skills. I told myself, after this season I'll rewrite my life plan, and guess what? Every season was exactly the same. Until I learned a simple but life-changing lesson. Either you have a reason, or you have a result. You can't have both. The first thing I did was take 100% responsibility for every choice I made every day. I realized that I didn't have to wait for time. I had to create it. I didn't have to wait for strength. I had to act even when I hesitated. That initiative was the first step to pulling myself out of the mire of procrastination. But if you don't have a clear goal, it's easy to fall back into the same old cycle. Without goals, you just do things aimlessly. You wake up, do the mundane, answer emails, surf the web a little, and the day goes by. And every day is the same. No progress, no direction. Living without a goal is like setting sail without a compass. The sea is vast. The winds are blowing in all directions, and you just follow what comes first. Work comes first. News comes first. Distractions come first. Your dreams always come last. If you haven't written down your life goals, do it today. It doesn't have to be a big deal. Start with something you really want to do. Write it down. Then ask yourself, why is it important to me? Does it speak to something deep inside of you? Does it reflect your values, aspirations, or beliefs? Because if your goal isn't connected to something you believe in, you'll give up easily. But if it's connected to something that makes you live more deeply, you'll have an intrinsic motivation that's strong enough to carry you through even your weakest moments. And finally, there's a silent killer that's eating away at your time and focus every day: your phone. We live in an age of unprecedented connectivity, but also greater disorientation. Every time you open your phone to quickly check notifications, you may have just lost 30 minutes without even realizing it. And the worst part? After scrolling through a series of short bursts of content, your brain is tired, but your mind still feels empty. It's the worst feeling. Exhausted without even knowing why. I fell into that trap for a long time. I surfed the internet as a reflex. Whenever I was stressed, I opened TikTok. Whenever I lost focus, I checked Instagram, and then felt guilty for not doing anything meaningful. Like that, every day I felt like I haven't done anything, while time just kept passing by. The solution doesn't have to be complicated. Just be clear about your phone being a tool, not your boss. Set limits on social media time. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Set up focus mode for work. Even just keeping your phone 2 meters away from you can significantly reduce distractions. And most importantly, replace your old habit with a better one. It could be reading 5 pages of a book, taking a 10-minute walk, or simply sitting still and breathing deeply. Small actions, but repeated long enough, can change the way you spend your time. You may think you're not lazy, but sometimes these habits are laziness in disguise. And as you peel back the layers, you'll see that you have more time than you think, more power than you think, if you choose to take back control of your life. Have you ever been in this situation? You haven't done anything strenuous all day, but you still feel tired, exhausted, mentally sluggish. You have no motivation to do anything, even if it's not that difficult. And the most frustrating thing is, you can't figure out why you're feeling this way. This is one of the most common signs of hidden laziness, being tired for no apparent reason. At first glance, it may seem like you're just lacking energy, but deeper down, it's a vicious cycle. You feel tired so you don't do anything. And then because you don't do anything, you feel even more tired. It's a form of inertia that creeps in, day after day, paralyzing your ability to act. I went through a period like that when my work was not too stressful. My life had no major changes, but every morning I felt bored, lethargic, and disoriented. I drank more coffee, slept later, and tried to force myself to do something. But the more I did, the more exhausted I became, until I realized I did not lack motivation. I lacked the foundation to have energy. The human body is a smart machine, but it also needs maintenance. If you don't get enough sleep, eat poorly, don't exercise, and are constantly distracted by dozens of small stimuli, it's natural that you'll feel tired. The solution doesn't require a drastic change program. It starts with 3 simple things. Get enough sleep, really enough, 7 to 8 hours, at the same time every day. Get 20 to 30 minutes of light exercise every day, no marathon required. Just walking or stretching. Drink plenty of water. Cut back on caffeine, and avoid eating too much sugar or processed foods. Don't take these small changes lightly. They're not just good for your health, they lay the foundation for bigger things in life. And then as you start to have more energy, a new challenge arises. You work, but you don't focus. We live in the age of multitasking, where we try to do more than one thing at a time. We have 7 tabs open in our browser. We listen to podcasts while working. We text and scroll through social media. We think we're optimizing our time, but in reality, our brains are drained of energy just switching between tasks. Research has shown that every time you switch from one task to another, even for a few seconds, your brain has to reset its processing. And when you do that hundreds of times a day, your energy is drained before you've even accomplished anything significant. The solution? Monotasking. Pick a single task and commit to doing it for a set amount of time. No tab jumping, no phone picking up, no background noise. Just focus and enjoy the feeling of being truly present in each action. Creating a quiet workspace is also important. A tidy room, adequate lighting, and most importantly, a single device to work on. You will see your productivity increase many times over. And if after all that, you still feel discouraged when looking at your work or goals, maybe the cause lies here. You are comparing yourself to others. Comparison is natural, but in the age of social media, where everyone is sharing their best version of themselves, it's easy to feel like a failure just because you're not as good as someone else. I used to feel like I wasn't good enough when I saw my friends my age getting promoted, owning businesses, having happy families. I looked at their lives and asked myself, what am I doing with my life? And every time I did that, I lost the motivation to do anything. My self-esteem started to erode my inner strength, until I learned one simple thing. The only comparison worth worrying about is with yourself yesterday. You don't have to be better than anyone else, you just have to be better than you were. And that's enough to feel meaningful. Recognize small steps forward every day. What did you do today that you didn't do yesterday? What did you overcome today that you avoided before? These will build confidence more sustainably than any compliment. Because in the end, the only race you need to win is the race with your own inertia. There is a subtle form of procrastination that many people do not even notice. It does not come from obvious laziness, nor from lack of responsibility. On the contrary, it is disguised as carefulness, professionalism, and it sounds very reasonable. I will start when everything is ready. I need to prepare a little more. It is not perfect enough to start. Sound familiar? That's perfectionist procrastination, the most subtle trap of laziness. You think you're waiting for the right time, but in reality you're avoiding something important. You make excuses that you're not ready, but the truth is, you're afraid. Afraid of failure, afraid of not doing well, afraid of the outcome not being what you want. And because of that fear, you choose to procrastinate with a very convincing excuse. I've been there. It took me 2 years to perfectly plan a project that I should have started in 2 weeks. I rewrote the first draft over and over again because I wasn't satisfied. But the thing is, I never finished any of it. Perfectionism paralyzed me, not because I was incompetent, but because I didn't dare to be wrong. And then I realized a liberating truth. No one starts perfect. All you need is a first draft, not perfect, not smooth, but enough to get started. When you act when you're not ready, you not only overcome procrastination, you build a valuable capacity, courage to act in the face of uncertainty. Don't wait for everything to be perfect. Instead of asking, is this good enough? Ask, what can I do right now with what I have? And if you still find yourself giving up easily halfway, not persistently pursuing a plan even though you have started, perhaps the problem lies here. You lack personal discipline. Discipline is not the ability to force yourself to work hard. Discipline is the commitment to keep your word to yourself. Even when no one is watching, no one is reminding you, no inspiration. You know what separates successful people from those who are stuck at the starting line. It's not talent, it's discipline. Talent can get you fast, but discipline can keep you going. So how to practice discipline? You don't have to change your entire routine in one day. Start small. Repeat at the same time. Get up 15 minutes early every morning. Journal every night. Exercise for 10 minutes after work. When you maintain consistent action, you reprogram your beliefs about yourself. You can also use this trick. Reward yourself, give yourself a treat when you're done. A cup of your favorite coffee. A movie on the weekend. That makes discipline more positive, not a punishment. And if you're someone who needs connection, join a group or community with similar goals. Having someone to remind you, keep you company, and share your progress with will help you feel more accountable. But there is one final, and perhaps most dangerous, obstacle. The fixed belief that, I just am. Have you ever heard someone, or yourself, say this? I have been lazy since I was a child. I'm not a motivated person. I don't have the energy like other people. It sounds simple, but it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you believe your personality is fixed, you lose the motivation to change, and so you never try. The truth is, you are not born with a fixed nature. You are shaped by what you repeat every day. If you are lazy, it is just a habit, and any habit can be replaced. You can rewrite your identity with small actions. Every time you choose to do something instead of procrastinating, you are affirming, I am a person who keeps my word. Every time you push yourself against comfort to take on a challenge, you are building a stronger self. You don't have to change your life in one day. You just have to take action, a little bit every day, and you'll see. What you thought was natural is actually just a choice that you can change again at any time. Laziness is not a temporary feeling. It is not simply a lazy day, a little lethargic, or a moment of not wanting to do anything. It is an invisible system of habits, repeated day by day, hour by hour, and then suddenly one day you realize you have been standing still for too long in your own life. You don't notice it right away, because modern laziness is not loud. It doesn't make you lie around all day doing nothing. Instead, it's very well disguised, with your phone always in your hand, with your tomorrow plans, with the feeling that I need more time to prepare, with the excuse that I'm waiting for the right moment. And then day by day, you find yourself busy but not making progress, tired but not sure why, wanting to change but not knowing where to start. I say this not to make you feel bad, but to let you understand something very important. You are not alone. We've all been there, stuck in a cycle of inertia, self-doubt, and procrastination. But that's what I want you to know. If you're in that state, you can get out. And you don't need a huge revolution to change your life. You just need to start with one small action. Just get up right now. Make that blanket you forgot to make this morning. Just write down a goal, however small, and commit to it. Just turn off your phone for 10 minutes. Spend some quiet time reconnecting with what you really want in life. Because every small action is a message you send to yourself. I no longer accept procrastination as normal. You don't need to beat laziness in one day, but you need to beat it right now, right when that familiar voice in your head is whispering, it's okay, I can do it tomorrow. That's the real enemy, not the outside world, not the world. It's the version of you you are, in your weakest moments. When you want to give up, when you want to sleep in for 15 more minutes, when you're about to skip something important because you're not inspired. It is in those moments that the real battle begins. And here's the cool thing. Every time you get through it, Even a little bit, you're rebuilding yourself. You're teaching your brain, I'm a doer, not a waiter. You may not be able to control your emotions, but you can control your actions. And actions, repeated, will gradually change habits. Habits will rebuild your identity. And new identities will lead you to a new life. I know you doubt yourself. I know there are days when you feel like nothing will ever change. But I also know there is a part of you, deep down, that still longs to be stronger, clearer, more purposeful, more disciplined. And that part, that good, disciplined, mindful part, just needs a very small touch to awaken. So if you're still waiting for the right moment, know this: there's no better time than now. There's no greater opportunity than this moment, when you realize that you can start over, and you deserve a better version of yourself, not for anyone else, but for yourself. Conquering laziness is not a one-day affair, but it is the greatest victory of all, because it is the foundation of all other victories. When you master yourself, you can master anything. And if you still have doubts, don't wait. Don't analyze. Don't think anymore. Just start, now, before laziness whispers to you, I'll think about it tomorrow. If you have come this far, it is not by chance. It is a signal that you are ready to embark on a new journey, a journey of looking deep into yourself and being reborn from within. This video is not just a sharing. It is a part of real experiences, contemplated, summarized and sent with all sincerity. What you just heard is not theory, but something I believe will touch you, if you listen with your heart. Not everyone makes it to this point, but you stayed, and that tells me you are an awakening person. Someone who is willing to step out of your old self and live your true self. If anything in this video made you nod, or shake, or pause for a moment, leave a like, and subscribe. Let me know you're with me, and so you don't miss out on life-changing messages.